40 years old. He wears an old raincoat. His hair is long and straggled. He has been teaching this class in the women's prison twice a week for the past 8 weeks. It pays reasonably well, enough to tide him over until the new contract is sorted out. He looks at his watch. He's caught in heavy traffic, not moving. Ben Elton would get a novel and £1 million out of it. Ivan's metro is decrepit. He's listening to Dvorak on a tape. His most recent novel, chapter and verse, sits open on the passenger seat. The passages he will shortly read at Waterstones are highlighted in yellow. Beside the book, there's a half-eaten packet of Starburst, although he will call them opal fruits until he goes to his grave. He lifts the book and reads aloud, his voice strong, confident. But it was not only by playing backgammon with the baronet that the little governess rendered herself agreeable to her employer. She found many different ways of being useful to him. She read over with indefatigable patience all those law papers. He stops, because he's aware of being watched. He looks out and then up at the cab of a lorry facing in the other direction, and the bearded driver laughing at him. Ivan closes his book, sets it back on the passenger seat, then grips his steering wheel with both hands. A moment later, music booms out from the truck. Someone, with at least a fingernail on the pulse of popular music, would recognize it as rap, but to Ivan it is noise, and noise a noise. Ivan scratches suddenly at his head. He thinks he may have picked up nits in the prison. Ivan hurries across the busy road, freezing rain slicing into his face. Halfway across, he steps out of the shoe with the broken lace, and before he can go back for it, a car drags it along the road for 100 yards, and he has to hop after it. Look at the great author, stepping off his lofty pedestal to pursue an Oxford brogue along the tarmac. He picks it up and hugs it against his chest. Campbell is watching him from the Waterstones' doorway. His agent gets 10% of everything he earns. Ivan's coat is ancient, but at least he has one. Campbell is damp and cold. Ivan hurries up, full of apologies. He isn't nervous until he sets a damp foot in the bookshop, but the moment he crosses the threshold, the weight of literature and competition is suddenly upon him. Thousands and thousands and thousands of books. Half of them appear to be about a young boy called Harry Potter. Ivan admires anyone who can make that much money, yet hates her with a vengeance. He wonders if she will ever write Harry Potter and the Provisional IRA, or Harry Potter and the Palestinian question. He loves corrupting popular titles, and idles away many hours of his writing life at this very pursuit. His favourites are Love in the Time of a Really Bad Flu, The Day of the Jack Russell, and 2:45 in the Garden of Good and Evil. As he moves through the shop, Ivan becomes aware that the aisles are actually very crowded. This is a good sign. Campbell pushes ahead of him, then comes to a halt at the edge of a seated area. 100 seats, and they are all filled. Butterflies flap in his stomach. This is better than he could ever have hoped. At previous readings, he has been lucky to scrape up a dozen hardy souls. He glows. Word of mouth. He has never been quite popular enough to be considered a cult, but perhaps this is the beginning of something. He is ready to be acclaimed. He observes the microphone, the small lectern, the table with the bottle of Evian water, the glass, the chair, the pen for signing books afterwards. The manager of the shop steps up to the microphone and taps it once. "Ladies and gentlemen, sorry to keep you waiting, but our author has at last emerged from the nightmare that is our traffic." They laugh. "Our guest tonight is quite simply a writer who needs no introduction. Universally acclaimed, a master of the English language." Ivan swallows nervously, takes a first step forward. "Put your hands together for Francesca Brady." Ivan freezes. Applause erupts around him. Posters curl down suddenly from the ceiling. A mile-wide smile, expansive hair, red lipstick, the cover of a book, but the spitting image of the author now emerging from the audience, not 6 feet away from him. His heart is racing. His first impulse is to dive on her, force her to the ground, and then batter her to death with a copy of Insanity.